And as the ancient prophecies reveal, all that has been hidden shall come to light, and the ancient mysteries must unfold. Thus the universal law of all. Now, listen to this universal law, the law of all, the law of divine oneness. Everything is connected to everything else. What you think, say, do, and believe will have a corresponding effect on others and the universe around us. This is the law of vibration. Everything in the universe moves and vibrates and travels in circular patterns, and the same principles of vibration in the physical world also apply to our thoughts, feelings, desire, and wills in the etheric world. Each sound, thing, and even thought has its own vibrational frequency unique unto itself. Telling the truth is not only a matter of character, it is also a matter of appreciating factual situations and representing them without bias. And to reach that end goal, both you and I must be willing to be straightforward with ourselves first and one another. We must be prepared to stare at ourselves in the mirror and speak the truth. So the key to following the right path in life, it is you. You choose them all. Why? Because experience is the key to greatness. I am an infinite subconscious darkness manifested source light energy, having multiple experiences within one and multi-dimensional realms simultaneously. And I am entering into that awareness. And until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. Every generation has its purpose. Ours is to tell the truth and reverse the brainwashing and the brainwashed. We are the younger generation of the vision. The black man has been misled. The black man has been violated. The black man has been compromised from his molecular cellular predisposition on the cosmic arrangement and in the procession of life. But worry not, we are here to rectify that too. Gene food consistency. Gene food consistency. The anthropologists, the archaeologists, the historians, the doctors, our professors, they have failed us, and they have failed themselves, because one thing they were supposed to know, one thing and only one thing, they were supposed to know that which goes to their mouth. If you don't know what you're putting in your mouth, then what are you doing? If you put paraffin in a car, it's not going to move, right? Yes, your food must be consistent with your cells, consistent with your genealogy, consistent with your DNA, consistent with your biological structure. Oh, black man, do you know when God made you, you were not supposed to get sick? And that's the default setting of God or nature. Why don't monkeys need no vet? And neither is the elephant, and neither are any of the birds. It's because they live in accordance with their cosmic predisposition. But that we did not know. How are we supposed to know of such when our very society is a huge mental asylum? It's because we were indoctrinated. It is a collective psychosis. How is it that it is general knowledge that digestion of starch begins in the mouth? Everyone knows that. Yet, starch is a photoplasmic poison. It is glue. It is a very dangerous chemical to the human body. Starch, You call it, but they are actually sulfides. Starch is cyanide. It robs your body of iron, oxygen and moisture. Every product that contains starch as a base, it is acidic. That starts with maize. Maize is an unnatural plant. When you consume maize, it turns to carbonic acid. Rice is glycerinic acid. Beans is uric acid. Potatoes is starch. Cassava is the rawest form of cyanide. Sweet potatoes are extremely dangerous. They contain riboflavin and other heavy metals. Sugarcane and sugarcane products are very acidic. There is nothing sweeter than sugar and nothing more toxic, acidic, and dangerous as sugar. These foods are man-made. They are poisonous, brought by our colonizers. The diet of the African has been violated 600 years now with the aforementioned foods which we all eat. So, a question arises. Why would someone make artificial plants and think he could equal God in proportion in quality and productivity? Man have no laboratory to titrate or to bring together chemicals and minerals that can produce life. It's only God. Tell them again for the third time to behave themselves. The body is made up of minerals, 102 minerals, not a single vitamin. So from today henceforth scrap vitamin A to Z in your vocabulary. They are non-existent. We are carbon beings. We are made up of minerals. And any knowledge that doesn't lead to new question quickly dies out, as it quickly fails to maintain the temperature required for sustaining life, which puts a lethal threat to society. Your blood is made up of iron. Your bones are made up of calcium. Your brain is carbon, copper, and magnesium. We are mineral elements. We are electrical. We are alkaline. And so, always do the affairs of men change and improve, because keen-minded men seek greater skills that they may better serve those upon whose patronage they depend. Ramla, that was for you. Wonder is the feeling of the philosopher, and philosophy begins with wonder. There is a direct connection between food and genetics. There is a direct connection between food and genetics. The time has come when the elasticity is about to pop. Cynicism is dead and ambiguity is anything but it. And the language is alive, and so are we. We are electrical people, and we eat electrical food. Which is the strongest animal in the jungle? It is the gorilla. Which is the largest animal in the jungle? It is the elephant. Which is the oldest animal in the jungle? It is the tortoise. Yet they are all fueled by plants. So, how did I come to the conclusion that all black people are vegetarians? It's because among all the animals, birds and plants, the distinct of this cosmic law is evidence. Because among the birds, we have some that feed on nectar, others on grain and others flesh. Amongst the animals is distinct, herbivores and carnivores. Different plants get different minerals from the earth through the process of iontrophoresis. E.g. burdock, the distinct mineral is iron. Sea moss is calcium. Mushroom contains carbon. But amongst the Homo sapien, everyone eats meat. How is that we human beings are exempt from this natural cosmic law? The black people were designed to be in relationship with plants. Our digestive system is designed to consume plants. Our physiology is designed to combat the energy of the sun by extracting it from plants. Our primary biological relationship is with plants. Remember, iron is the mineral that conveys to the brain. It contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. When you are deficient in iron, you are susceptible to a whole bunch of diseases. Iron is the spark plug of the human body. It is the only mineral in the planet that is magnetic. Being that iron is magnetic, it has a tendency to pull other minerals to it. It pulls magnesium, zinc, gold, selenium, and calcium, phosphorus. So when you take in iron, you are taking all other mineral elements at a proportionate balance. Iron dissolves inflammation, meaning that it can shrink and eventually remove tumors. Anemia and diabetes are not the only things that lack of iron can cause. The lack of iron causes over 40 manifestations of diseases. Without iron, the body loses energy and the immune system, which protects you from all diseases, begin to give way. There is no oxygen going to the brain when iron is low, which even undermines your thinking. Without iron, we wrinkle at a young age and can no longer walk with a straight back. Gene food consistency. Gene food consistency. Remember that the body can't regenerate itself when it's full of inflammation, mucus, parasite, toxic chemicals, excessive hormones from dead animal flesh, cooked mucus forming from dairy products, refined sugar and processed foods. They only but help destroy the body. We become sick because unconsciously we are violating God. All life on earth is intricately interwoven with the natural rhythm and laws of the universe. Every organism regulates its own metabolic activity in cycles attuned to the fluctuations of the earth, sun, and the moon. So we humans are both directly and indirectly affected by the various cosmic forces that are beyond our control. And the optimal state for each individual is to live in complete harmony with nature and the surrounding environment. The orthodox scientific approach that we have been using for the last 500 years have been dominated by the germ theory, which evolved from the findings of French chemist and biologist Louis Pasteur, the founder of bacteriology. It has been the focus of modern medicine ever since, which is a flawed scientific approach. Pharmacology was started by John D. Rockefeller. Most drugs are manufactured from inorganic, photoplasmic, and carcinogenic chemicals developed in laboratories. We are organic beings with a physiology designed to readily assimilate organic substances, not manufactured chemicals. And constant ingestion of these synthetic drugs eventually only result in negative conditions. As toxic residues accumulate, almost all drugs developed have some destructive side effects on another function of the body. Drugs suppress disease, relieve symptoms, and ease pain, but don't eradicate the underlying cause. And now overexposure to these drugs have produced a new kind of disease called estrogenetic disease. These are diseases that arises as a result of medical or surgical treatments. All life is based on energy. Health is the harmonious interplay of energies within the body. All thoughts and emotions reverberate throughout every cell in the body and manifest physiologically. Emotions alter endocrine balance, impair blood supply and blood pressure, and produces a substandard state of emotional stress, causing physiological changes that eventually leads to disease. Illness is a natural expression of what is going inside the body. Thus, pointless to treat these with superficial drugs designed to suppress the problem, because the seat of the disease may be in a different place than where it manifests. 70% of modern diseases are caused by stress, including cancer, and much of this needless suffering and expenses could be alleviated if just a fraction of the money spent on remedial health was channeled into education on diet and nutrition, because the relaxed body can heal itself. All life energy has 4 characteristics. It is electrical, it is magnetic, it is infrared, it is infrasonic. This study is called chiconology. Circulation is life, stagnation is death. For the time has come for us to progress as a people. Time to build heaven on earth. These foods, these hybrids, these GMOs, our colonizers used them intentionally to put our minds in a state of stupor. Meat and starch changes your thought patterns. It is impossible to love one another. Remember the agenda to divide and conquer when they met in the Berlin Conference in the year 1884. These foods make it impossible for us to love ourselves and others. And because of this engineered food, we have bias and prejudice amongst each other. This was the psychological warfare Malcolm X was talking about. For instance, when Dr. Sebi made the statement that he had cured AIDS, it is impossible, virtually impossible, to still believe the statement is correct and true. 2 reasons. 1, the doctors claim there is no cure for AIDS. But why should we take the word of the doctor? What disease has he cured for the last 500 years using inorganic and carcinogenic chemicals? They have cured none. So when they say there is no cure for AIDS, they are right. Number 2, if a white man doesn't do it, how could he? If he was doing it, how comes the white man was not promoting him? But I ask you, my black race, why would the white man be promoting Dr. Sebi when he wanted to stop his ministry in the year 1987 in the Supreme Court of New York? The white man wanted to stop Dr. Sebi's work. Now you begin to see the prejudice that we have amongst each other. We've been so compromised. The sole meaning of life is to serve humanity. Great thoughts speak only to the thoughtful mind, but great actions speak to all mankind. To think ill of mankind and not wish ill to them is perhaps the highest wisdom and virtue. So, as I have told you before, in a matter of speaking, you are given the gift of the gods. Your belief becomes reality. What you believe is and become real in your experiences. And believe me, there is no area in your life where this does not apply. So, don't let evil people worry you, and don't be envious of them. A wicked person has no future and nothing to look forward to. And the deepest sin against the human mind is to believe things without evidence. Most of the food that Africans consume was taught to us by our colonizers, while they knew their deleterious effect to our health up to now. Was that being kind? Is that being kind? In a world where wars of detachment are the order of the day, formlessness is crucial. And remember, what had success in the past must be carried over to the present, even though the circumstances have greatly changed. And often with language, less is more. For the time has come for us to progress as a people. Time to build heaven on earth. This is the African pledge. We will remember the humanity, the glory and the suffering of our ancestry. We will honor the struggle of our elders. We will strive to bring new values. We will bring new life to our people. We will have peace and harmony amongst us. We will be loving, sharing, and creative. We will work, study, and learn. Listen so we may learn. Learn so we may teach. We will cultivate self-reliance. We will struggle to resurrect and unify our homeland. We will raise many children for our nation. We will have discipline and patience, devotion and courage. We will live as models to provide new direction for our people. We will be free and self-determining. We are the African people. We will return to our ancestral ways. We will win. Because the time has come for us to progress as a people. Time for us to build heaven on earth. Christians and Muslims may act as if they have the monopoly on God, but the African has had a relationship with the Creator way even before the existence of the people who created these two religions. In fact, we were the first to perceive the presence of a supreme being. Both the Bible and the Quran were plagiarized from the Sumerian tablets or the cuneiform tablets. And the true name of Noah or Nuh was called Utnapishtim in the original texts. The Quran was plagiarized from the Apocryphas. So, in this age of information, ignorance is a choice. The Christian religion was created by Constantine and the Jews with the help of the Romans to have an upper hand in controlling the world. The black man should ask himself, was the white man not afraid of hell when he was torturing, killing, raping, mutilating, enslaving and enriching and colonizing the black race? Where was God during this time when they claim God created us all equal for 400 years? Then segregation, then came colonization. These are the reptilians. The reptilians and their hybrids are still the force behind world religion today, and they have used it mercilessly to control their slave race humanity. Religion comes from Greek. It means to try or to constrain. Religion limits the perception of self and the world. It creates a hierarchical structure of top-down dictatorship, uses fear and guilt to impose a belief system, and provide endless opportunity to divide and rule the populations. The reptilian race chose religion as the battleground on which to conquer the human mind. Religion is following the messenger, Spirituality is following the message. In 1604, a conference of religious leaders met at Harcourt Court Palace in England and agreed that they needed a new translation of the Bible. 50 eminent scholars took several years to complete it. The result, published in 1611, was the authorized King James Version. King James was a homosexual. That's history. History is not meant to be believed. It is meant to be known. I found God when I lost religion. So any book that claims to be of history, yet it emphasizes on believing it rather than knowing it, is false. Again, history is meant to be known, not to be believed. You believe because you don't know. Lack of knowledge and evidence leads to believing. Ignorant fools will never be wise. And it's only until the day when you realize that Avatar was trying to teach you something about corporations invading and destroying our sacred land. By 3 methods we may learn wisdom. 1, by reflection, which is the noblest. 2, by imitation, which is the easiest. 3, by experience, which is the bitterest. Slaves, in relevant fear of God, submit yourselves to your masters, not only to those who are good and considerate, but also those who are harsh. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 18. So, if your holy book gave laws about how to keep slaves, then your holy book is disqualified as a source for developing moral code. In fact, even one Reverend, Dr. Charles Cookle Jones, wrote a book called How to Make a Negro Christian. This book was written during the slavery period in the US. Reverend Charles was a major slave owner that owned 3 plantations. He developed a system to make slaves more submissive and easier to control by converting them to Christianity. Over time, his methods proved to be highly successful and became standard operating procedures for most slave owners. During slavery, life of an African slave was wrought with constant brutality and degradation. The enslavers governed their slaves by whipping, beating, starving, mutilating and castrating, and by other modes of cruel torture. To believe that amid so much brutality, that the ungodly enslavers then converted our enslaved ancestors into Christians to empower them is absolutely ridiculous. The African slaves of the 21st century are those who cannot unlearn all lies they've been taught by the white society. How can a slave and a master both worship the same God when both expect their prayers to be answered by the very same God? Remember the story of Solomon Northup, where our very own Lupita Nyong'o bagged an Oscar. Remember Kunta Kinte. They beat you throughout the week, then give you a Bible on Sunday. Learning someone's truth and using it against them when they confide in you is weak as fuck. After enslaving, segregating and lynching us, you mentally enslaved us using the Bible. 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 666. We are the beast they wrote about in their Bible. European slave trade and Christian slave trade is one and the same. Why? Because we are the Egyptians and we pursue a philosophy of our own. We are the Egyptians. We will win.
Ooh. ça comme chez vous. Chez vous, chez vous, chez vous, chez vous. Oh, bien sensible,
Islam, Dinitul Islam. Over several centuries, countless East Africans were sold as slaves by Muslim Arabs to the Middle East and other places via the Sahara Desert and Indian Ocean. The sale of African slaves can be traced back to antiquity. It became popular in the 7th century when Islam was gaining strength in North Africa. This was 7th century before Europeans explored the continent, and 10 centuries before West Africans were sold across the transatlantic to America. Arab Muslims in North and East Africa captured Africans to the Middle East. That's why castration of male slaves was a common practice. But on the other hand, African Muslims were not allowed to be enslaved. Most people still have the so-called transatlantic slave trade by the Europeans into the New World in mind. But in reality, the Arab Muslim was far much greater, estimated 17 million Africans. 8 million Africans were brought from East Africa via trans-Saharan route to Morocco and Egypt, and further 9 million were deported to regions on the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean. The evils committed by the white man and the Arab man in God's name were innumerable and insurmountable, and we have never lost sight of that. Africans lost their identity when they started to believe their ancestors were demons and traditional healers had evil spirits. Eyes and ears are bad witnesses if the soul is without understanding. It must be understood the Arab slave trade and the Islamic slave trade is one and the same. Modern day slavery is widespread, especially in Mauritania, in Africa. Slavery has been called deeply rooted in the structure of the northeastern country and closely tied to the ethnic composition of the country. In 1904, an end of slavery in Mauritania was declared by the colonial French administration. Mauritania was the last country in the world to be forced to abolish slavery in 1981. Despite this, the BBC in 2018 reported a figure of about 600,000 black people as slaves in Africa, enslaved by the Arabs, and they reported to say that the situation was unusually severe. According to the human rights group, the country might have jailed more anti-slavery activists than the slave owners and the slave masters. In Libya, it is far much worse. Many of the slaves are captured while crossing the Sahara for greener pastures, while others while fleeing wars, especially the Sudanese. Slavery may seem like a relic of the past, but according to the United Nations International Labour Organization, or the ILO, there are more than 3 times as many people in forced slavery as opposed to those who were captured and sold during the 400-year span of the transatlantic slave trade. What the International Labour Organization, or the ILO, calls the new slavery takes in 25 million people in debt bondage and 15 million workforce as in enforced work. And as an illicit industry, it is one of the world's most lucrative. earning criminal networks a whopping $150 billion a year, just behind drug smuggling and weapon trafficking. Modern slavery is far and away more profitable now than at any other point in human history. These are the districts where thousands of black people are held as slaves in Libya, in Jabal al-Aqdar, in Jabal al-Gharbi, in Zawiya, in Benghazi, in Butnan. Oh, how much better to see what is really happening, although unpleasant, because what you allow other government to do to its people, it will eventually be done unto you. Any leadership that teaches you to be dependent on another race, that leadership is going to enslave you. Reality is my drug. The more I have of it, the more power I get, and the higher I feel. Slavery destroyed us. Religion divided us. Ignorance controlled us. And the truth scares us. There is no life for the soul except in knowing, and no salvation but in doing the truth. Knowledge is of greatest importance. Through all our journey and difficulties, it is necessary to know. It is by knowledge that we are lighted to find our way in the dark. Knowledge is our lamp of light and our compass. To possess knowledge is to be a master of divine powers. And many black people are so brainwashed by religion that they literally believe that to reject our enslavers' religion is to reject God. It is not so. It is not so. It is how the blind and the ignorant try to keep others blind and ignorant. If you think the UN love Africa more than I, then allow them to kill me and watch them return Africa back to slave trade. This is Muammar Gaddafi. He said it in 2009. Salute, Muammar Gaddafi. The truth vibrates at a specific frequency. You don't only hear it, but you also feel it. He will win, he who prepared himself. Awaits to take the enemy unprepared. For we are the mighty children of the sun and its messengers, unknowable and undecipherable. We are the ones we've been waiting for, and as warriors of light, we shine in the darkness. Spiritual vision is given to those who live in truth. Siuna gorokomo, kemenya kamenya ikiunuo. We speak in parables. He who is intelligent will understand. For we, the Egyptians, pursue a philosophy of our own. We are the Egyptians. We will win. At the midnight of March 5th, 1957, our father, our ancestor, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah declared, "We are going to see that we create our own African personality and identity. We again must rededicate ourselves in the struggle to emancipate all African countries, for our independence is meaningless until it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. Arise, black man, arise. This is what Adolf Hitler said. It'll be a World War III once the world finds out what I was really trying to do. The Jews have stolen and enslaved the true children of God, the black people. Later, after winning 4 gold medals at the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, African-American track star Jesse Owens was not invited to the White House or recognized in any way by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Instead, it was Hitler who gave Owens a special commemorative gift. Arise, black man, arise. We are in a racial war. Africans, do you see the need for unity now? We are at war with a racist system, and we have not unity because we fight each other over names and religions that they, the colonizers, give us. They are killing us because of our skin, not our names or religions. We live in a system where we are the victims. Now, imagine when they had finished enslaving, then segregating the Africans. Then it's when they came to colonize Africa. If you think the world is a better place now, listen to this. Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America, where we have so fair an opportunity, by excluding all blacks and towny, or increasing the lovely white and red? Benjamin Franklin, president and scientist. I advanced it as a suspicion only that the blacks, whether originally a distinct race or made distinct by time or circumstance, are inferior to the white in the endowment of both to religion, body and mind. Thomas Jefferson, President. There is a physical difference between the white and the black races, which I believe will forever forbid the two races living together. While they do remain together, there must be the position of superior and inferior, and I, as much as any man, in my favor of having the superior position assigned to the white race. Abraham Lincoln, President. We have, as far as possible, closed every awareness and avenue by which the light may enter the slave's mind. If we could extinguish the capacity to see the light, our work will be complete. They would then be on the level of the beast of the fields, and then we would be safe. This is Henry Berry, Virginia House of Representatives. We will always hide the divine truth from them, that they are all alone. That he must never know. They must never know that color is an illusion. They must always believe that they are not equal. Drop by drop, we will advance our goal. We will take over their lands, resources and wealth to exercise control over them. We will trick them into accepting laws that will steal the little freedom they have. We will set up a money system that will shut them down forever, keeping them and their children in debt. This is John D. Rockefeller, also the father of the medicine you buy at the pharmacies. Now, what you didn't know is that melanin gives black people superior physical, mental and spiritual abilities. Melanin refines the nervous system in such a way that messages reach the brain and other body parts most rapidly in black people, the original people. The passive sympathy of the African masses must be converted into active participation in the struggle for the total emancipation of the African race in the world. Africa has got to be free. Africa has got to be free. And the only solution for the bad and violent people are good people who are more skilled in violence. You've been lied to about everything. The illiterate of the 21st century will be those who can't read or write, but those who can't unlearn the many lies they've been taught to believe. And what is the root of all evil? Illusion is the root of all evil. They decided your name, nationality, and religion, and you spend the rest of your life defending something you didn't even choose. Don't you see? This makes you look like a fool. Jesus said in Matthew 5:22, whosoever calls somebody a fool will enter hellfire. Luke 11:40, Jesus said, you fools. Matthew 23:17, Jesus said, you blind fools. Luke 24:25, Jesus said, look at how foolish you are. So, if you're still attached to your religion, your color, or the country you are born in, then you still don't know who and what you truly are. On this day, 10th October 2020, I, Amun, declare myself Chairman of the African Union. On this day, 10th October 2020, I, Amun, declare myself as the Emperor of the Federal United States of Africa. Stop looking for justice in a land of criminals. They try to kill us, yet we are still here. The black god, Ausar, cannot die. When we remember this divine truth and return to being Ausar, no enemy can defeat us. Return to your true nature. Ausar, God living through man. We black men, we African men, we were never meant to be savages or thugs. That mentality was taught to us by our colonizers, who despised our masculinity. We are God in nature. We are strong and moral by nature. We are kind, respectable, and merciful by nature. We are products of peace and righteousness. Don't take the identity of a beast just to deny your identity as a god. Your royalty is in righteousness. And when you decide to follow the secret path of your ancestors, be prepared to be engulfed by the spiritual life of the primordial fire. That's why they removed political education in 2003 in our curriculum. The Britons knew who we are. Marcus Garvey said, If black people are aware of the glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves. The time has come for the black man to forget his hero worship of other races and to create and emulate heroes of his own. It is no secret that a high civilization existed in Africa, and you and I know nothing about it. That statement took the life of Malcolm Shabazz X. I am Ausar, God living through man. I, Amun, Chairman of the African Union, the AU, and Emperor of the Federal United States of Africa, decree that all Indonesian and British troops to be withdrawn from Papua New Guinea with immediate effect. There is a silent genocide in Papua New Guinea, the largest gold reserve in the world, and home to the most exotic, indigenous, and expensive timber like teak. There's uncontrolled illegal logging. The Indonesian army has so far killed over 600,000 new Papua Guineans. Yet the whole world is silent. The country still is struggling for independence. Mass murders are happening as I am talking right now. You, Mr. Mohammed Heri Sarapudin, Indonesian ambassador to Kenya, you get out of this country immediately, because when I get you, I will bury my foot in your ass. And when we fight you, we make sure you can't get away. I, Amun, decree number 2, immediate withdrawal of all the 500 French troops in the West African countries under Operation Barkhane. Muammar Gaddafi had already warned us. He told us that the French was going to come and create more problems so that she can continue taking African resources, and her presence in Africa can be justifiable. The G5 Sahid to retreat with immediate effect. Nusrat al-Islam, Aqim, and Sardin. Don't kill your people. This is neocolonialism. Put your arms down. There is a peaceful solution. This also applies to Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab. Put your arms down. Do not kill your black brother because of religion. I, Amun, speaks with a voice that must be obeyed. President Macron, withdraw your troops immediately. There is no terrorism. You fund both sides so that you can continue looting our resources. Mali, which Mansa Musa ruled, is full of wealth and mineral deposits. Yet our citizens are amongst the world's poorest. Same with Congo. Mali means wealth. I, Amun, decree number 3, withdrawal of the AFRICOM troops in all African countries. We are not at war with the US, yet our military is everywhere. I further proceed to tell the UN to remove all her troops from Congo. It is the UN that is destabilizing the country. It is causing mayhem, poverty, and Ebola in Congo. Oh, the Congolese militia, hear the voice of your Imperial Majesty. Lay down your weapons. Let's find the solution to our conflicts. As Africans, no more war. Let's rebuild our African mama, Pachamama. I, Amun, decree number 4. All the Monsanto and Hapamila aircrafts that fly in the African airspace to stop with immediate effect. They have been poisoning us with helium oxide, phosphorus, magnesium, and cyanide. and all Monsanto fertilizers in Africa to be disposed. They are poisonous. Monsanto dedicated itself to finish the black people and the black race in all African countries. Monsanto is also headed by Bill Gates. I, Amun, Decree number 5. I have suspended all constitutions in Africa, which will take effect on 31st December 2020. It shall be Independence Day for Africa on 31st December 2020. All Africans are invited to Freedom Corner in Uhuru Park, where I, Your Imperial Majesty, shall address the African people. African comes and celebrate our unity as we remember our ancestors and forefathers who have made a distinct contribution to our racial history and elevate them to positions of honor, fame and glory. On that day, we will celebrate our prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He said in life he was going to be the fame, and in death he was going to be the terror. On that day, we celebrate our Patrice Lumumba. Oh, our Congolese kings and queens, come and let us celebrate together. On that day, our Burkinabe kings and queens, let us come together and celebrate Thomas Sankara. He is our hero. On that day, our Kenyan queens and kings, let us come together and celebrate our Field Marshal, Dedan Washuri Kimathi. On that day, our Sudanese brothers and sisters, let us come together and celebrate Dr. John Garang. On that day, our South African brothers and sisters, kings and queens, let's come and celebrate together Steve Biko. On that day, our Ugandan brothers and sisters, let us come together and celebrate Idi Amin Dada. His image was distorted, but we salute Idi Amin Dada. He is our legend, conqueror of the British Kingdom. On that day, our Libyan people, we come together and celebrate our colonel, Muammar Gaddafi. We all know how Libya was flourishing. It was the only country in the world that truly practiced democracy. Rest in peace, King. Rest in peace, King. We salute you. Obama killed you. Look at him. He now looks like a clown. On that day, our Ethiopian people, we will come together and celebrate our Imperial Majesty, King of Kings, Emperor Haile Selassie. We love you. Everyone does. On that day, we celebrate Malcolm X. We celebrate our Martin Luther King. We celebrate the Black Panthers. On that day, we celebrate our Malachi Z. York. On that day, we celebrate our elder, the one and only Dr. Sebi. On that day, we celebrate Tupac Shakur. Tupac said, I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee I will spark the brain that will. Thug life forever. Black coffee. Shout out to DJ Mimo. On that day, we celebrate every black person. Dress your very best. Ancient Egypt will be the theme. Traditional attires will be much appreciated. We all watch Black Panther. Yeah, We dress to kill. We are the African people. We are the children of the sun. On that day, Miguna returns back to Kenya. On that day, we celebrate the Jarawa people of India, the Aborigines of Australia, and other indigenous tribes of the world. They will be under the protectorate of Africa. I am Amun Decree number 6. End of ties with the European, COMESA, ECOWAS, IGAD, and all other countries in the Caribbean. Your premiers will pledge loyalty to their home country, Africa. You will no longer be under the protectorate of the Queen. Fuck her. The Barbadian people, this is especially for you. Big up your lovely president for making that move. We will open new trade routes with y'all. All land given to the Catholic Church, I, Amun, will relook at them again. In Africa, the Catholic Church is a conglomerate. Unilever, I will relook at all the land you control in Africa. Africa shall no longer be exporting tea or coffee, beans, sugarcane, sugar, maize, and other artificial and man-made crops. They are deleterious to our health. Instead, all that land shall be planted chickpeas, teff, butternuts, and all alkaline natural plants only that shall take effect as of January 2021. And did you know that the black people are not even designed to ingest milk or lactose? It is acidic. Mr. Musa Faki, Mr. Muhammad Ibn Chambers, shame on you. You have been the leaders of Africa in trade, but 75% of the African youths are unemployed. You are also involved in the mission in Darfur. I'm very keen and observant with everything that goes both onto you. Shame on you again. Remember, if there is no enemy within, the enemies outside can do us no harm. I, Amun, Decree number 7. Every African who is enslaved in any way, especially in the Middle East, because the Lebanese people do it, the Saudis do it, and the Qataris, I decree that you let them go, because if you're found, we will destroy your entire families. All human traffickers, weapon traffickers, drug smugglers, take warning. I, Amun, Decree number 8. All Hollywood, everyone, the pedophiles, the adrenochrome harvesters, take note. The Rockefellers, Bill Gates, and your fucking vaccines, we will skin you alive. Man Africa, HPV, the Pope who is the devil, you reptilian race hybrid. The Queen of England is a reptilian hybrid as well. My queen is Queen Nefertiti. Donald Trump is just another clown. Egyptian books in Rome must be brought back by January 2021. I, Amun, Decree number 9. Stop immediately the production and sale of cigarettes with immediate effect in Africa. This is the psychological warfare we are in. I, Amun Ra, made marijuana legal. Our brains have cannabinoid receptors. When God created the BlackMan, He intended him to use all the herbs. And marijuana happens to be my favorite herb. Remember, I'm a herbalist, the best herbalist. And set all the ganja prisoners free. Free by 31st December 2020 in Africa. Prison is designed to break every last vestige of autonomy. We must wage a ferocious war against this deeply embedded ambivalence with a clear understanding of what is at stake. I, Amun Ra, decree number 10. I shall reconstruct the Sphinx. I shall reconstruct the great temple of the sun god, Amun Ra, in Karnak. We will build a mighty racial empire where the sun shall never set. Africa for the Africans. All children of Africa who live in the diaspora and want to come back home, this is the time. Your ancestors endured a lot for us to be here where we are. It's time to come and build our nation, our Africa. Just listen to that word, Africa. My mama, our mama. Natty dread shall rise again. Mystery Babylon, your kingdom has fallen. Love, wisdom, and understanding is the only solution. We are the descendants of the Mau Mau. You are not going to take it anymore from here. We are here to re-establish my art. My art is truth, justice, and harmony. Our African spirituality is part of our African identity, and we will not apologize for embracing our culture and acknowledging our history. I'm fragile, not like a flower, but like a bomb. I'm hard to kill and even harder to stop. And I abingi boboshanti I. Oh, divine art of subtlety and secrecy. Through you we learn to be invisible. Through you we learn to be inaudible. Hence we have the enemy's fate in our own hands. Africa must unite under one flag, the RBG, one language, Kiswahili, one religion, ancient Egyptian, one divine book, the emerald tablets of thought, and one divine force called love. And for everything that I do, I, Amun Ra, I do it with love. It is we who follow the teachings of Janine and the man from My Nation Chronics. Jaja bless.